to do something new. I think this would be fun. Let's look at some Resident Evil hot takes all over the internet. I'm going to give my opinions. I want y'all to give me some of y'all Resident Evil hot takes in the comment section below. Yeah, man, let's look at some of these people hot takes. So first things first, I don't know who this person is, but it says scorching hot takes for Resident Evil. Let's listen to him. I don't know how old this is, but let's go.
Controversial takes about the Resident Evil franchise. I'll start. First person Resident Evil is terrible. Third person is better. Ethan Winter.
The first person perspective being horrible. I don't think it was horrible. I think it was something that only fit the the Winter family games. It made sense for that. I don't think it was horrible though. Resident Evil 7 was a fantastic game. Village was great. I just don't like the replayability of Village, but Village on the first playthrough was fucking fantastic. Might be controversial.
Should not have been the MC twice. As a matter of fact, he shouldn't have been the MC at all. Should
have. Okay. Ethan Winter hate. Okay. I get it. I do get it. The first game, Ethan was supposed to be us on the first game. That's what they said. The first person point of view, we were supposed to be Ethan. But then, the next game, Ethan Winter was actually his own character. Ethan in the first game was shit. Let's just be real. He was terrible. No emotions, no nothing. It reminded me of the protagonist in Silent Hill 4, Henry. Horrible. But to say that after Village is blasphemous. Blasphemous. Ethan in Village was great. Now, is he a Mount Rushmore character? Hell no.
6 is actually a good game.
Get the fuck. That game was made by Michael Bay himself. There was just unnecessary action after action. Explosion here, explosion there. If you were a Call of Duty fan or Army of Two fan or something like that, you probably loved RE6. Hell nah.
Wesker is not a good villain. Chris Redfield and Leon Kennedy should team up in the next game. The fact that hasn't happened yet is beyond me.
Not a bad take. Not a hot take by any means. Not a hot take.
The Mega Mycete storyline is low-key better than all the other storylines in Resident Evil.
He's not lying. He's not lying. He's not. Resident Evil is not known for great story modes, okay? Hey, I mean, not story modes, but great story. They're pretty cheesy, Hollywood-esque type of stories, especially like RE4 saved the president's daughter from the evil being. Like, a lot of it's just cheesy horror. There is no way on God's green earth, or whatever you believe in, you're going to sit there and tell me a lot of those other RE stories are better than RE8's story. It's just not going to happen. RE8 has the best story in the game series, in my opinion. Is that a hot take? I don't think so. I think he's kind of rebounded from these other takes.
Of all the remakes that exist within Resident Evil, Resident Evil 2 is the best one out of all of them.
Now, I'm somebody that thinks RE4 remake is better than 2, but 2 is my favorite remake, if that makes sense. 2 did a phenomenal job, don't get it twisted. What RE4 did, because RE4 original had so many issues, and I feel like they fixed it and just made the game way better. The gameplay is 20 times better than the original. Everything is just better. They make separate ways and actual great DLC, because the original DLC was trash in my opinion. That might have been a hot take in itself, but it just felt like just retracing the steps of Leon. I just didn't like it. I didn't like the ship level either. Like, that mess was trash. There was a lot of not good in the original RE4 that a lot of people won't admit. RE4 corrected that. So I feel like RE4 is the best remake out of the whole series, but I'm not mad at anybody that says 2, because I completely understand it. And 2 remade a PlayStation 1 game, so it's going to get way more credit than Resident Evil 4 remaking than Capcom remaking a PS2 game. So, I mean, I get it.
Evil 3 next to Resident Evil 5 are arguably one of the worst Resident Evils to exist.
So, RE3 is trash. I don't care what anybody says. That's my hot take. The blame on RE4 for the introduction to action, when that's not true. I feel like that's a very casual-esque take, because RE3 was the one that started all of that BS. And even you can even say RE2, because RE2 had some action in there. But RE3, you have this big, brawling being chasing you all throughout Raccoon City. This LeBron James built-ass creature shooting rockets at you. And you're running for your life all throughout the game. There's red barrels. There's a dodge mechanic. That is action. RE3 is the first real Resident Evil that is an action game. Literally nobody wants to admit that. I'll be the person to come out and say it. I don't understand why. Now, maybe RE4, yes, because it made Resident Evil 4 way more popular than it was, and it ushered in a whole new crowd of people. Okay, cool. And it's the reason why we got RE5, which I think is one of the best Resident Evils in the series. Hot take on my end, but I just have to get it off my chest. 3 is terrible. 4 and 5, great. Hot takes.
DLC for Resident Evil Village was not needed. Leon Kennedy.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong, but if they wouldn't have did a DLC for it, that means we probably would have got another Winter's Family game, and I was just cool with the 2 games. I don't think Ethan needed another game, and they ended his story beautifully. He's not wrong, but
not needed. Leon Kennedy is the best character in Resident Evil by far.
I don't think that's a hot take. Is that a hot take to y'all?
Ashley in Resident Evil 4 was by far the worst side character to ever exist. Ethan Winter's daughter is a better side character than Ashley ever was.
Oh, he's cooking! He's cooking. He cooked in that one. I ain't gonna lie. He cooked. Ashley is the worst side character in RE. Let's be real. They redeemed her in RE4 remake, but she's the worst side character. No. Oh boy from Code Veronica. Oh boy from Code Veronica was fucking horrible. No, never mind. He's not cooking. He might not have played Code Veronica, but oh boy from Code Veronica, horrible. People still underappreciate Resident Evil 0. Crack is powerful. Let's see what this guy says. I think RE0 is better than Code Veronica. Y'all know how I feel about 0. 0 is the worst game in the series by far. RE0 is better than nothing at all. Okay, nothing. I prefer RE4 remake over the original by far. I mean, that's a hot take I have. The remake is so much better. RE3 Nemesis is the best in the... Oh, that is a scorching hot take. That's a terrible take. Like, I know opinions are opinions, but there's also wrong opinions. Jesus, what? 3 better than 2 and 1? Are you kidding me? I had no interest in playing RE5 after the public demo. I do not get the RE5 hate. I truly don't. I'll probably make a video on that because I absolutely love RE5. It's truly one of the best games in the series. I don't care what anybody says. Leon is used too much in the mainline games. Capcom should look to give Claire or Jill their own game outside of the recent remakes. I don't think that's a hot take. I kind of agree. I think he's in 3 games. I don't think that's an insane amount. But I do agree with the fact that Claire and Jill definitely deserve their old games, and I feel like that's why people were so hyped to see Jill and RE9, and the fact that might not even be true is going to piss a lot of people off. But Jill definitely deserves her own game. I think Ada is somebody that can benefit from her own game. Maybe a spinoff, maybe not a mainline entry, maybe a Revelations 3 or something. Claire, not a very popular character, but I wouldn't mind her getting another spin-off game. Revelations 2, she had her own game, but and Code Veronica, so she has 2 of her own games, but Jill, I think, is more deserving than any other character. Prefer Resident Evil 7 over 2 Remake and Village. Yeah, that's certainly a take. I don't care what anyone says, but RE1 deserves a second remake in the modern, third-person, over-the-shoulder perspective. People who don't enjoy fixed camera angles should also be able to play the game. Okay, so the first part is actually pretty funny because I made a video. I don't know if y'all gonna see this first or that video, but I actually made a video touching on that exact topic. And I'm gonna be real with y'all. You know what? Y'all probably see this after I drop that video just cause. But I actually agree with him. I actually agree. The third person perspective brings the gameplay and the intensity right in front of your face. It makes it just way more enjoyable than the fixed camera angle. Yeah, I actually think Capcom should remake Resident Evil 1. I wouldn't blame them if they didn't because I love the original Resident Evil 1. Fixed camera angles are definitely not for everybody, just like tank controls is not for everybody. Y'all know I hate tank controls. I really like the RE3 remake. It was a great game. That is a lukewarm take. I think a lot of people that hated the RE3 remake, don't get me wrong, it's not nowhere near the level of RE2 or Resident Evil 4 remake, just not even close. The original RE3 was trash in my opinion. The remake, I didn't expect it to be no different. I don't think it was a horrible game. I know a lot of people are mad that they cut some of the stuff out from the original. For what it's worth, RE3 was a spin-off game. The remake felt like a spin-off game. The only real issue I really had with the game was Nemesis was a pansy. Folded easily like a lawn chair. Like, I didn't like Nemesis in RE3. Besides that introduction moment where you're like running from him, trying to find the way to get the rails together, or whatever the hell it was. That, you know, the beginning portion of the game. He was awful. He was just nothing but boss battles at that point. The game was okay. I don't think this is a hot take. I just think people overly hated RE3 remake because it wasn't like RE2 remake. Resident Evil 7 gets mad after you defeat the mother. I think that is not true, but I mean, if he said when you get to the ship, it gets kind of mad, I would completely agree. That's kind of where the game kind of tailed off. Everything up until that point was great in my opinion. But I wonder if that's what he meant. If that's what he meant, then I completely agree. I don't think that's a hot take. Resident Evil 6 is better than 7 and 8. The hyperbolic outrage to 6 has morphed the series into a shell of its former self. 7 and 8 were better served as spin-offs than main series entries. That boy is on the finest of crack. Is this Lamar Odom? I do not understand. You know what I really find funny over the years? The shields that have came out for Resident Evil 6. I remember, and y'all will not change history. I remember when Resident Evil 6 dropped. I got it day one. I remember the outrage Resident Evil 6 got. The game was not good. It was too much bloat. Capcom tried to entertain every type of Resident Evil fan, and it was just too much. The freaking game was an action game. It was in that era of Call of Duty, Armored 2, and clearly Capcom got influenced by that. The audacity for you to say this shit was better than 7 and 8, you deserve to be stoned. I just, that is the hottest of hot takes. This is probably the hottest take. The hyperbolic outrage that 6 has morphed this series into a shell of its former. Are you kidding me? 7 and 8 were better served as spin-offs? Like it or not, 7 and 8 generated some of the best RE storylines in the series. Probably the best. 8 in my opinion, like I said earlier, has the best storyline in the whole series. 7 story was great. It was one of the better stories in the series. Do y'all really remember the story of 6 like that? It was just too much going on. It was basically Resident Evil Avengers, produced by Michael Bay. That's all that game was. Resident Evil 2 Remake is better than the OG Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 5 is quite fun when you don't have anyone telling you it detracts from the franchise roots. Resident Evil 2 Remake being better than the OG Resident Evil 4, I actually agree. I don't think that's a hot take. I think Resident Evil 2 Remake is way better than Resident Evil 4. Is that a hot take? Do y'all think that's a hot take? RE2 is better than RE4. Like, are we kidding? Are we joking right now? And then Resident Evil 5. Resident Evil 5 is a great RE. I don't get why people hate it so much. I truly don't. The people that do not like RE5 like RE4. RE5 is just more of RE4 in a different setting. That is all it is. Sure, there are some over-the-top action sequences there, but other than that, it's literally RE4 with a co-op. Alright, so this is going to be the last video I watched. Let's see what this guy has to say.
You know, I'm going to have a hot take today, but Ethan Winters has the best story in all Resident Evil.
I like this. I like it. This is not a hot take. I don't care what any of y'all say. This is not a hot take. A lot of people hated on Ethan. I mean, I was one of them in Resident Evil 7. But the story and his closure in RE8 is the best in the series. So I would say this is my hot take as well. Ethan Winters, Resident Evil Village, had the best story in all of Resident Evil. I think it's a fact. If you look at all the other, like, come on, man, let's be real. I know a lot of y'all still might not be fans, but I think we got to call a spade a spade. We got to keep it real. He had the best story. The ending of Village is one of the best endings in RE. Especially for the closure of a character, it's the best. Let's be real here.
My opinion. I think that he got the best story.
Cook.
Okay? Now, see how I did say gameplay. Because don't get me wrong, I love Leon, I love Claire, I love all the characters in Resident Evil. And I personally think that the older Resident Evil games are a little more entertaining for me going forward, gameplay-wise.
Okay.
I've always really enjoyed them. But Ethan Winters' story is way more in-depth.
Facts.
Okay? It is so...
The brother... Okay, he's not a brother, but the man is cooking. The man is cooking. He hasn't said a wrong thing to me at all.
Well layered. And it has such a great pace to it, I personally feel. And I just felt way more invested into
Facts.
Ethan Winter's story than I did
Facts.
with other characters. Now,
Absolutely.
don't get me wrong, this may be a thing of me just getting older.
Y'all gotta really be honest with me. What character in what Resident Evil game was y'all truly invested into the character and the story of that character? We love Leon because he's cool as hell. He has one-liners. He's suplexing people. He's just cool. And there's nothing wrong with that. Why do we love Ada Wong? Because she uses a grapple hook. She's cool as hell. She's like a female Leon. Why do we love Jill? Because she's cool. She can lockpick stuff. She does a lot of cool moves and stuff. But I never hear people say, oh man, I just love the story of freaking Leon. Oh, I just love the story of Chris. None of them are in depth like Ethan. I really feel like this is the best take in this video.
I played all the Resident Evil games when I was really young and continued to keep playing them. And then when I got to Ethan Winters, I was an adult. But I personally just got way more internally invested in what was going on with Ethan.
That's a fact.
And what was going on.
Do not sit here and act like when you found out this man died in RE7, and this should not, I should have to say spoiler warning, because if you have not played RE7, it's 2025. What the hell are you doing? When it turns out Ethan has actually been dead since the beginning of RE7, that was the best twist in RE. I love when Mother Miranda was always watching us the whole entire time. The whole thing was going according to her plan. That was greatness. Like, everything involving Ethan's character was phenomenal in the Village. Man, this man actually cooked. I actually want to end the video on that note. I am not gonna lie. I'm gonna end the video on this note. Maybe I'll do some more in the future, but this was just a brilliant take in my opinion. Y'all let me know y'all hot takes. Do y'all agree with some of these takes and some of my takes? It should definitely be fun. Let me know how y'all feel in the comment section below. This was brilliant, man. I almost cried. Sure, hit that like and subscribe button for more gaming content, Resident Evil content, all that good stuff. Safe out these gaming streets, and I'm gonna catch you on the next one. Peace out.